Our next speaker, longtime supporter of infrastructure improvements across the Commonwealth and in his district, a champion of infrastructure technology, Senator Rob Wonderling. Rob.
Good morning, and thank you, Kelly. I must admit I'm overwhelmed by the stature and leadership standing behind me, representing both the private and public sector, to discuss what I think is the key to the Keystone State, particularly as we are on the doorstep of the 21st century. And I must say, you'll be hearing from Secretary Beeler and others momentarily, but I cut my eye teeth in the infrastructure business when I had the great honor and pleasure to serve as Deputy Secretary of the Department of Transportation. But I also learned humility during that period of time, for it was then that my sister-in-law, Jennifer, dubbed me the Honorable Pothole. And perhaps humility will rule the day in an age in which what seems to drive policy discussions, both under the dome here and in Washington, D.C., is the arrogance of celebrity, the soundbite, and oftentimes the manufactured myth in a 24-hour news cycle. Which is why this initiative, I think, is distinct, different, and long overdue for this Commonwealth. Because this initiative, first, is an initiative that understands that our infrastructure requirements in this Commonwealth go beyond political boundaries, partisan bickering, government, private sector, the we-they mentality that oftentimes drives debate. And in fact, I could argue that this issue transcends all of those points of conflict for the following three reasons. First, I'm bullish and in support of this initiative because I believe strategically this empowers young Pennsylvanians. Now, you might be saying, what does an underground pipe or some copper and fiber or the rehab of a bridge have to do with empowering young Pennsylvanians? I believe this does because this is the type of work that provides jobs and high-paying jobs for all young Pennsylvanians. Recently, Issues Pennsylvania conducted a survey of those Pennsylvanians between 18 and 32, and the question was asked, do you think you will remain in this Commonwealth 1 year from now? 75% of those young Pennsylvanians surveyed said maybe, not sure. And when they were asked why aren't you sure you'll be in our great Commonwealth 1 year from now, the answer was very simple, it was job security. So when you consider the package that has been led by these leaders behind me, that's before the General Assembly, at a minimum, I think it empowers young Pennsylvanians. Second, and if we want to continue to talk about what young people want in this Commonwealth for this future, they want sustainability. They don't just want to talk green, they don't just want to do green, they want to be part of a solution that sustains our environment, that ensures we meet our constitutional obligations to be proper stewards of our environment, not just during a political cycle, but really for the next generation. And much of the projects that you'll be hearing from that are represented from the utilities and gas and water distribution, the transportation sector, is all about improving our infrastructure in a way that uses new technology that creates that sustainable infrastructure agenda that improves our environment. And then finally, there's a lot of hubbub about economic stimulus. Tax packages flying back and forth between the House and the Senate that, in my opinion, just barely scrape the surface of what it means to really supercharge an economy. All told, the legislative initiatives that are contained in this leadership package would energize about $50 billion of investment in this Commonwealth. That's about 1/5 of the state budget. When you consider that, it is absolutely staggering. And to me, means that if we're successful in moving these initiatives forward, this Keystone State will not only be the key to the future for sustainability, for empowering our young people and ensuring a safe and reliable infrastructure for all of our citizens of our Commonwealth, it'll be the keys to a very, very bright future, a bright future indeed.